In antiquity, one thing ruled the world: gods and monsters. But it was the other half that made the difference. God Perseus, who vanquished the beast. Known as the Kraken, he rescued the planet. Father Zeus promised him the chance to reign as a prize, but Perseus turned him against him. He turned it down since he wished to live as a. Ultimately, Perseus' wife perished, but this did not convince him to alter his views. He continues to be a basic fisherman and provides excellent care for his kid, Helios. Twilight, Zeus visits Perseus to deliver the unfortunate news that the gods are losing their powers because mankind is not religious. Hence, they cannot hold the demons inside the Tartarus gates no longer, and soon Cronus the giant, Titan and the father of all gods, may escape capture. Zeus will bring disaster to the planet. Needs Perseus' assistance with this, but Perseus declines because his greatest concern is his son, which he does not believe he has. Notwithstanding, sufficient power exists to make a difference. After Zeus' departure, Perseus retires to bed and starts experiencing nightmares about Cronus almost destroyed his village while assaulting it, murdering his kid, while Zeus meets, along with his brother Poseidon and son. Ares is not pleased to hear from Perseus, since he won't be coming. Irresponsible, they go to Tartarus, fix the walls, and they will seem across Hades, who still despises his sibling, Zeus and Poseidon, for exiling him to Hades. According to this Hades, the underworld, he chooses to betray his family and launches an assault. Via the release of fireballs and monsters, a ferocious fight commences. But because the gods have intervened, they are so feeble they cannot battle with full strength. And Zeus is brutally struck by Poseidon. He was preoccupied with his brother's death, and Ares seizes the opportunity to defeat Zeus. Ares steals instead of joining Hera's. Zeus' thunderbolt will get more potent. At that time, a group of chimeras appeared. Assaults from the underworld while ascending. Perseus sees people on every continent. One lands in his village and immediately returns. Must fetch his weapon in order to defend. At home, peasants assemble around the beast left a hole, but the chimera returns and affects everyone. To flee in terror, the hunt starts with, while Perseus attempts to save the community, combat the beast and maintain vigilance. Moment the chimera breathes for his son, Perseus utilizes anything he has at his disposal to start a fire. Hand like a shield, and as he approaches, I raise it. Sufficient, he stabs whatever area of the beast he can reach. He is knocked to the ground. The earth, however, when the chimera is in the vicinity. To murder Helios, Perseus, he puts himself, combines and produces a chimera, attention on himself, allowing it to become focused on him. The creature was caught in many chains, starts sprinting away and pulls us along. And after they've left the village, they're in danger. Perseus seizes the shackles and deceives. Monster capable of breathing fire, forces the chimera to self-ignite. After that, Perseus requests a healer to take care of him. Care for his wounds, and the arrival of Helios took him to a site called the Mount of Idols, where people used to worship the gods but no longer do so. Today is in ruins, where they discover Zeus' statue and begin praying, except for the one to Poseidon, who barely managed to appear. He reveals his plan to flee at the last second. Zeus told Perseus about the betrayal and has been seized, so Perseus must locate Poseidon's son, Jenner, who is accompanied by Queen Andromeda, and they will sail together, searching for the fallen deity. Hephaestus has the secret to overcoming Cronus. Poseidon requests that Perseus surrender his son to his trident before his death in battle. Meanwhile, Zeus is tied up so that Tartarus absorbs Zeus' abilities and uses them to liberate Cronus. Ares exploits the occasion to explain why he despises his father. He has always shown his preference for Perseus, offended the gods by Cronus prefers to live as a human and offered Ares a share in Hades' immortality if he fulfilled certain conditions. They release him, but Zeus believes it's a trick. He lied to get them back on his side. Perseus eventually realizes he must leave the village. He must battle, so he bids farewell to Helios, who presents his father with a sword he forged. Perseus then calls for his black horse, Pegasus, who carries him to great heights. This enables him to locate Queen Andromeda's soldiers are preparing for battle. Combat close to the entrance of the underworld, the archers assault Perseus. As they see him soar by, though, they promptly laid down their swords when recognize this as the victorious hero, the Kraken, while everyone bows before him. Perseus and Andromeda are reunited, and reveals every detail, even the fact they must stop praying to Ares or they will beckon Andromeda's presence, accepts assistance and brings Perseus to sea. A general is incarcerated for being a liar. Perseus, a thief, describes the circumstances and Genoa's refusal to accept him, wishing to have contact with the gods that forsake him despite Perseus' urgings. This may earn him his freedom, thus Agenor requests a royal pardon, money, and a ship. In return for his assistance, Andromeda offered to marry him, accepts to offer him everything in exchange for, thereafter, for humanity's sake, a fresh generation's sacrifice. The ship Andromeda discovers that Hephaestus was the one who fashioned Poseidon's trident, the pitchfork of Hades and Zeus's lightning. If they combine these three phrases, they may construct the triumvirate spear. the weapon the gods used to destroy Cronus. First time Hephaestus inhabits the island of Kale that has never been discovered. A general asserts that he knows the way there. Perseus agrees to release him from his chains, chaining him and handing him the trident. The boat instantly adheres to Genoa. As they reach the island, direct the ship there. To Kale they find there are concealed seeds. Andromeda's guards want traps everywhere to pray for protection to Ares, and Perseus must remind them that Ares is a god. No longer on their side, the group attempts to be cautious, but a general nonetheless, walking into a wire and getting caught within a trap while discussing how to disarm it. Get him out of the trap, is abruptly demanded. Away by its cords, Perseus attempts to, pursuing it only to discover a tree in its place. Flung at him, Perseus deftly avoids it, astonished to learn a Cyclops is present. Andromeda's crew is responsible for all of these efforts to assist him, but a second Cyclops appears and starts murdering the troops. Andromeda is concealed by her guard Corinna, who attempts to worship Ares and Andromeda. A Cyclops is going to silence her soon. It was searching for them when it suddenly heard a sound, an agonizing shriek from its mate, and it comes out that he hurries to check on it. Perseus has succeeded in stabbing the Cyclops, pursuing him, and with the assistance of he activates one of the forest troops, use traps to eliminate the second Cyclops. Perseus activates when a creature attacks, using the trident to protect himself, brings forth a third Cyclops. Halt its allies because of the trident is the symbol that they provided to the group. The gods release Jenner and the Cyclops, respect Perseus and genuflect in the interim. Ares takes advantage of Zeus being bound to begin beating him over the head. Ares does not recognize his own limitations. Hence, Hades must stop him before he causes destruction. The Zeus plan ages at a rapid rate. When the shackles wrap his arms and legs, lava to absorb his strength thereafter. The gang reaches Festus at last. Lair the old god does not sound that impressive. He is rational, yet he recognizes Perseus, and assures him he is unable to assist since it no longer has divine power. Zeus confiscated it when he exiled him. Andromeda snatches him from the human world and hurls him into space. Festus extends his hand and begs for aid, which sufficient to convince him to alter his viewpoint. Because Andromeda makes Festus think of Hephaestus then married Aphrodite, demonstrates he was the designer. Tartarus contained a hidden passageway. They might use the means to reach the heart of Tartarus, and they need to traverse the labyrinth that encircles it. The gang departs for a new destination, building where Hephaestus hid the entrance to the labyrinth, and he delivers a gene, or a map of the labyrinth in case of emergency. As they are going to reach the door, suddenly Ares appears, and he murders the last troops of Andromeda, and Perseus hits him for it, but he isn't hurt, powerful enough to do harm while Hephaestus unlocks the concealed door of the gang tackles Ares, but he is too powerful. Corinna effortlessly drives them all away. She falls to her knees and confesses she was arrest the one who prayed for him. Thank her for her service by murdering her. Hephaestus is imminently vanquished. Then he holds the door open with his staff, confronts Ares to purchase the organization. As Ares takes his time, slaying Hephaestus, Perseus, and Andromeda, a generational run inside the labyrinth, and once the door shuts, the trio starts. Use the map of the labyrinth for exploration. Festus has abandoned them. Perseus keeps hearing a voice calling his name and requesting his son. Andromeda experiences a vision of Andromeda. Corinna, who flees from her after many twists and turns, are chosen by the author. The map is of little value, and they should follow his instincts as a navigator he had from his father. At that time the walls began to fall, start moving and blocking off surrounding pathways, so that the group flees before they are crushed as they reach the inside. The labyrinth includes enormous moving circles that causes them to tumble and get entangled between two. The demigods utilize their might to obtain power. Andromeda immediately ejected a general, but Perseus falls once again in a gloomy quarter. Perseus discovers Helios and must remind himself that he is not real. He searches for his companions just to find them. He was immediately assaulted by a minotaur, attempts to pierce him with its horns. The battle begins with ferocity, and it lasts for many minutes. Perseus succeeds in pushing the minotaur smashed a wall to get its horn. The entrapped Perseus then proceeded to beat him, and when the minotaur's horns snap, he will be destroyed. Attempts to request using Helena's voice. Compassion is noble, but Perseus nonetheless kills it. The minotaur guarded the labyrinth. Now that the maze is dead, there is a clear way opens for Perseus. He is reunited with his family, friendship, and ultimately entering together. Zeus was in the core of Tartarus at the same time. He apologizes to Hades for expelling him into the underground and admits he is involved. He now pardons Hades for trapping him. When Hades begins to change his mind, he is always one of his supporters, but at that time Ares appears and assaults him to prevent his escape. After exchanging a few blows, Zeus struck Hades, grabs Ares and throws them into the pit, until Cronus has completed absorbing. The strength of Zeus finally begins to awaken. The group arrives at Perseus' palace. When Poseidon's trident freezes Zeus, Ares climbs back up, prepared to defend. Andromeda and Agenor attempt to combat. Stopping him was futile, but suddenly Ares. As Hades hits him from behind, he falls. Using his pitchfork, the group flees. Ares grabs the pitchfork from Zeus while he watches from Hades and tossing it to Zeus. Stabbing him in the back, Zeus employs this strategy as an opportunity and combines the pitchfork and the trident in order to create the teleport the group out of Tartarus furious. Ares stabs Hades before examining the location where Perseus dropped Helios. Thereafter, the group appears at Andromeda's camp, but Zeus doesn't have. He informs Perseus that much time remains. Ares has a lightning bolt, thus they must steal it and construct the spear. Only Perseus is able to handle the group's weapon. Andromeda and her soldiers will devise a genocidal scheme. Hold Cronus at bay as Perseus attacks him. He prays to Ares and requests that meet him at the temple he reaches. By flying on Pegasus to the entrance of the cave, the underworld erupts and fireballs started dropping over the region, bringing several sorts of creatures accompanied them. Humans battle with all available weapons, techniques they can devise, but they won't be able to maintain their grip for much longer. Suddenly, Hades appears in the battlefield to see Zeus while carrying his hand as he accepts his apology, and this results in him giving up his last shred of authority. Zeus looks younger and has healed his wounds. Upon receiving wounds, both gods enter the battle, destroying giants as if they were insects. Meanwhile, Perseus comes at the temple and learns that Ares has delivered Helios because he wants for him to observe his father be removed like Ares's was. Watch as a ferocious battle erupts on his turf. Between the brothers, though, it's simple for Ares defeated a demigod when he was able to do so. Helios is preparing to slay Perseus. Forward with his father's sword, Perseus takes advantage of the opportunity he creates by diverting Ares' attention to attack his brother from behind. He stole the lightning bolt before, uses to kill Ares for good at this point, possesses the 3 weapons placed by Perseus, jointly to form the triumvirate spear. In the meantime, Cronus completes awakening and arrives on the battlefield, so allowing Hades and Zeus focused his attacks on him. Hence, authority is feeble and ineffective. Cronus disregards them and begins to destroy area instead of spewing lava throughout the location where Perseus arrives on Pegasus. He cannot go any closer to striking, due to all the raging lava in Hades, and Zeus combined their might to achieve a critical blow on Cronus and grant the possibility for Perseus to fly closer, causes Cronus to get enraged and prompts him to strike. The earth sent a huge wave toward the water. Zeus displaces Hades among the gods. He erects a force field, but he's not a threat, able to withstand and return the blow. Perseus has enough diversion to avoiding Cronus' last lava wave. The pilot flies away, immediately inside his mouth to insert the strategy included placing a spear right within his body. Works and Cronus erupts until nothing remains. Nevertheless, Ash is left behind by the army. She is pleased to see an Andromeda and rejoices. Perseus flew back to life thereafter. Perseus is reunited with Zeus, who mentions Perseus. The age of gods is ended, thank you. Hades cannot assist Perseus, so he turns to him for assistance. Any further time Zeus perishes in his son's arms. Hades reveals he's leaving. Now that he is helpless, he will have to initiate a campaign. Seconds later, everyone at camp witnesses a new life, starts caring for their injuries. He has no genes or ties with Helios, since he wants to be an excellent uncle, and Perseus attempts to kiss Andromeda while father and son have a moment of privacy. Admits, upon seeing war as but fishermen don't appear too horrible. Perseus wants him to be prepared for the future and chooses to give up. Legendary sword. Ensure you subscribe and activate alerts so that you can watch more. Thank you for watching videos.